So many women and men have been victims of abuse in some way or another. They moved on, started fresh, and lived happily ever after. Sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? I, on the other hand, have been through 6 nightmares of abusive relationships, which made me think, is it me? The first guy I dated started off lovely, as they all do. Gradually their true personalities came to light. He was a freak, and not the type of freak I would have wanted him to be. He was a control freak, even screening my calls. I remember going on a night out with my friends and he stopped at the door, barring me from opening it. I was expecting him to give me a kiss and tell me to be safe. Instead, he told me to make sure I get back by midnight. While I was out having fun with my friends, he kept sending me text messages to remind me. Anyway, time flies when you're having fun. And at 20 past midnight, he rang me asking, "Where the bleep are you?" I told him I was still with my friends. He demanded that I send him a picture, and I thought, why do I need to justify myself? I hung up the phone, called it a night, and got an Uber. I was a little bit tipsy. The driver helped me out of the car. I could see him peeping through the blinds. When I got inside, he shouted, "Who the bleep was that?" Not only was he controlling, but he was also jealous. Double red flag. A big sign of what's to come. I was only 19, and that wasn't what I wanted. So I left him. My second relationship was with a guy called Tony. He appeared to be all sweet, all the formalities. After a few weeks in, Tony's tone of voice started to change. He began to shout in my face, calling me all sorts of names. One afternoon we had an argument and he raised his hand to hit me. I looked at him and said, "You wouldn't dare." He slapped me across my face and I saw twinkling stars. My face was swollen and his fingers were imprinted on my cheek for days. He apologized, but I left him anyway. The third guy was called Steven. He did a number on me. Between him and Andrew, my fifth, I'm not sure which one was worse, but I'll leave you to decide. The abuse I got from Steven was a mixture of my first, second, and fourth, and fifth relationship. In my opinion, he was the evilest, but like I said, I'll let you be the judge of that. He was unpredictable. My family didn't like him, not one bit. Neither did any of my friends. Everyone thought he was too old for me. And of course, I rebelled towards my family and anyone who tried to guide me on the right path. He used that to manipulate me, telling me I was old enough to decide what I wanted to do and that I shouldn't let them tell me what to do. "If they're not with you, they're against you," he said. And I believed him. I blocked everyone's number who tried to come in between us, even my parents. So when he started to brutalize me, I was too ashamed to reach out to anyone. One evening, I was so stressed out about missing everyone, and I snapped at him. He slapped me in my face. I packed my belongings and I tried to leave. He grabbed me by my hair and started to unleash a barrage of kicks and punches on me. Then he kindly let me know that I've got no one. That was the first of many to come. We went to his friend's birthday party, and while he chatted with his friends, I was having a friendly chat to a younger guy. I saw the angry look on his face. He called me to the balcony for a fag, put his arm around me and said, "What do you think you're doing flirting with him in front of my friends?" He grabbed my arm so tight and put the cigarette butt out on my flesh. It was so painful. I muffled a cry, and on our way home he shouted, "Did you give him your number?" I said no. "Did you take his number?" Just to get back at him, I said. "What if I did?" He reached across from the driver's seat, opened the car door and tried to push me out into the moving traffic. Half my body was hanging out. I've never been this terrified before. That's how evil he was. When we got home while he was in the shower, I started to pack my belongings. I heard the water stop running. I remember the beating he gave me the last time I tried to leave him. I panicked. I left everything as it was. I grabbed my purse and I ran out as fast as I could. It was freezing cold. I had no idea where I was going. I was too embarrassed to call any of my friends or my family because I naively allowed him to manipulate me into cutting them off. My parents always said, no matter what, You're always welcome home. I called an Uber and I was in such a state. For the hour and a half I was in the car, I kept looking behind, afraid that he might be coming to get me. It must have been instinctive because I honestly do not remember giving the driver my parents' address. So when the car pulled up at my parents' house, I was surprised. I frantically knocked on the door, and when they opened the door, I burst into tears. They saw the burn on my hand and the state that I was in. They didn't ask what had happened. They just hugged me and said, "It's okay. You're safe now." The next morning, I told my parents what had happened. I reported the abuse to the police and they escorted me to his house to collect my belongings. Stephen was subsequently arrested and charged for all the things he had done to me. To cut a long story short, 6 months later, I met a guy called Matthew. He was my fourth. We had an argument, he grabbed me by my throat and he pushed me against the wall, and with his finger pointed in my face, he said, "Don't try me, otherwise you'll be sorry." I kept asking myself, is it me? It was like Stephen, all over again. I left him immediately. My fifth relationship was with a guy called Andrew. He was very manipulative. We had an argument and he tried to throw me over the balcony. I knee-jerked him in the nuts and ran out of the house. My sixth and present relationship with this guy is called George. Bless his soul. Every time we argue, I expect him to hit me, but he never once has raised his hands towards me. We had an argument. I shoved him in his chest, expecting him to just slap me like all of my previous partners. All he did was turn around and walk out of the house. I thought I wouldn't see him again, but a few hours later he returned with a lovely bunch of flowers. He's been such a gentleman. I respect him, but because of all the trauma that I've been through, I expect the worst from him, which might cause us to break up if I don't do something soon. Actually, I just realized something. I think I need help. I'd like to know if you've experienced any of the above. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more true life stories. It's free to subscribe.